Hello everyone, thank you for joining me here for yet another cup of reflectivity where we are looking at the energy present with us for this coming week and how the Hebrew creation codes can help us navigate the energies and also the energies that they contribute and make available for us. So, if you've been with me here, you will recognize one of the letters that I drew today, Chet, our old friend who has been with us for several weeks now, joined this week by Dalet, creation code number 4. So we have creation codes 4 and 8. And as I was sitting today with these energies, tuning in, I really got in touch with a deep sense of, it almost feels like an anxiety, but it's an excited anxiety, a nervousness that comes from that feeling of knowing there is something big ahead, but you're looking forward to it. And at the same time, it's a little scary and you're nervous about it. That's the energy. And I've been feeling this energy for the last few days. So it's something that's been with me in the background. I've been feeling it in my body. And I haven't honestly really taken time to really sit with it. And so today is the day when I'm getting more answers about what this energy is about. And it does feel very global. This is affecting so many of us right now. So let's jump into this here. I'm actually really liking this combination, Dalet and Chet, because it's a real beautiful continuation here. Dalet, the symbolism of Dalet is the doorpost and lintel. And so it is representing a door, a gate, a gateway, in the sense of a barrier that needs to be removed or opened in order for us to be able to cross a threshold, to cross from one state of being into another. And that's a theme that I have been really feeling strongly. I actually have been writing my blog post about it lately, several of them, because it does feel like such a strong, repetitive, or consistent theme right now. We're really moving from one state of consciousness, of beingness, into another. Chet represents a doorway. So we have a door, something that needs to be opened with Dalet, and Chet symbolizes the doorway, something that we step through in order to transition, again, from one state of being to the next, from darkness to light, from the denser frequencies into the higher frequencies. And how I am feeling this right now, when I'm tuning into Chet and the message it has for us right now, I'm feeling the density of the emotions that are still a little bit afraid of walking through that doorway. So what I mean by that is I'm sensing our body memory still holding on somewhat to all of our past experiences and the density that we have come through and all the memories of what hasn't worked out and how it hasn't been safe so far to really embrace our emotions fully. And with Dalet, I am now feeling this incredibly strong impulse. I almost said invitation, but it's more of an impulse. It's a real push into fully opening our hearts. And that is the door, the barrier, that closed heart space that we've closed down for so long because it hasn't been safe, or we haven't experienced it as safe to be fully open, to be fully ourselves, and to bring our full, true, open, authentic selves into the picture and share that openly with everyone. And I would say that all of us probably can relate to that to some degree at least. Those parts that we're still holding back. Or we can reflect to the past. How much of ourselves we have kept hidden and we haven't fully shared outwardly. Dalet can be very self-absorbed and closed down in that regard. What we're being called to now is really embrace this open-hearted space that Dalet really wants to embody. And embodiment is another strong theme that I've been talking about. And both Chet and Dalet are very embodied, very physical, very practical. We're very down to earth. And both of them have very, very high frequencies. So this is really taking our higher consciousness, our higher awareness, the higher frequencies, and embodying them and letting them pour into life and really living from that place instead of just talking about it. So tapping into this sense of nervousness. The visual I was getting with that is that of someone who has been preparing their whole lives for their part in this big play, this big theater production. And now it's finally time. The play is being produced. It's rolling out. And you're waiting behind the curtains for your roll call. And that's the sense of nervousness, of anxiety, of the need to keep taking deep breaths to calm yourself down, but also this excitement about it's time. I've been preparing for this my whole life, and now it's time to step out there and take my part in the play, which really ties in with last week's recording, where the whole message was all systems go, and we're being placed into our positions, waiting for our roll call. So the irony here is that instead of, like we typically would think of in a theater production, instead of going out there and taking on a role that's not representing our true selves, we're doing the opposite now. We're stepping out of hiding into the limelight and let ourselves be seen fully. We're coming in with our true gifts, our full personality in service to our higher missions. And that is a very vulnerable and scary place to be, and hence still that little bit of resistance and anxiety. And so what might be happening right now still is that this is flushing out a lot of our dense fears, doubts, insecurities, and a resistance to fully committing to this path, because Chet can be very avoidant, especially when it comes to commitment. And yes, of course, that plays out in relationships. But right now, I'm more talking about the commitment to ourselves and to our part in this world, our role, our work here. And Chet can have an adaptive pattern of being a little bit flighty, non-committal, where you don't, they're hard to peg down sometimes and get a real commitment for a specific date or time. Because, by the time that date rolls around, they might want to do something else instead. Or maybe they meet someone else on the way and they'd rather hang out with them, going with the flow, so that they don't have to face going deep into their feelings. And it's partly because of that tendency that Chet can have of becoming enmeshed in other people's emotions, because they are so wide open and so incredibly empathic. And they don't have boundaries. They do take on other people's emotions. They can lose themselves in others and other people's agendas. And so because of that, that can be what drives them to want to keep their independence. And that can look a little extreme, to where they just shirk any kind of commitment. So look into your life right now and see if you can find any of those themes coming up. And again, this might be extremely subtle. This may not show up very obviously. You might say, well, I'm pretty committed. I show up. If I say I'll do something, I will. But look a little deeper. How committed are you to really, really stepping up to the plate and embodying your truest, most authentic, most powerful version of self? Because this is what we're faced with right now. To step over that threshold and through that doorway. And there really isn't any turning back. Once we've passed it, I don't think anyone would want to return back, because it just looks scary from this side of it, because we don't know what's waiting for us. And this is where Dalet asks of us to take those big leaps of faith and to work on our trust issues. Trusting in spirit, trusting in ourselves that we can handle the situations. Once again, I'm feeling I'm repeating myself from other podcasts, but I do feel it bears repeating because it's so important and crucial at this time. So, heart opening up to the higher frequencies, the higher energies that now want to flow through us. Committing to our true selves, to our mission. Being willing to step out onto the stage of life and ready to take our roles and then interact with the other players. And letting go of a sense of control. Because this is a team production. And we can never quite predict or control how someone else is going to play their part. Or they might drop a few lines here and there. Forget. Get scared. Who knows? Or how the audience is going to react. That's out of our control. So that's where we need to rely on the sense of trust that we can flow with life and adjust and be adaptable and still play our greatest, most authentic part. So this is still very much an energy of rolling up our sleeves and getting down to the nitty-gritties, getting down to work and committing to the long-term vision and being willing to put in the long-term work, to set goals fluidly and to have plans in place, to have a structure, to be willing to budget at this time, to be willing to really put the effort into building a very solid, grounded foundation. And at this point, it might still require some frugality on different levels. Budgeting. But Dalet is a frequency of abundance. Abundance on all levels. I'm also feeling a strong sense of abundance creativity because we are so open now. Because once our heart is open, we're fully connected in with our soul self. And that is how our soul communicates with us, through ideas, impulses, inspirations, creative ideas, knowingness. So all of that I sense as a strong feeling of abundance, richness, fertility, that is now becoming grounded and manifest in our reality. And I'm also feeling this very, very strongly now as a team effort and as a community effort. And so it feels like we're now really stepping into a very conscious experience of coming together and creating, building this new vision for ourselves together. And here we are tapping in again to the sense of support and supportiveness, mutual supportiveness, creating win-win situations that I have been talking about previously. So it's time to really become present with our deeper emotions and really allow their messages to us to come through. Allow them to tell us where we're at right now. And then allow ourselves to be open to the greater vision that is wanting to find us, because it's time. And where is that tension between the two? Between where we're still holding on to what has been and how we've coped so far to get through this life. Being sensitive beings, being emotional beings, being caring and giving and sharing, but how often has that backfired on us? Because we had not dealt yet with our deeper inner woundings. And so the remnants of that is still what we're working with right now. And it can come up right now as this feeling of anxiety, nervousness, a pressure, because we're still coming from a place of avoidance. Abundance is here for us to step into at this time. It really is. But we have to put the work in. We have to start grounding our grand ideas. And we have to start trusting that these ideas are here to be birthed, or else those ideas wouldn't have found us in the first place. And so we're sacrificing our safety, or perceived safety, that we had when we were still able to hide our light, our true selves, our authentic selves, our vulnerable selves, which is what both Dalet and Chet want to keep safe. And yet, Dalet is here to shine and be seen and noticed, and to share of this beautiful heart space, this beautiful sense of unconditional love and generosity, and share all the deep insights and knowledge and wisdom that we gain when we walk through life with our hearts open, and we dare to feel our way through life and experience it fully. And that is why I feel this sense of nervousness is so present. And I've talked with some friends and they've been picking up on it too. And it's not surprising, but it feels exciting at the same time. It's not an ominous feeling of dread. On the contrary, at least to me, it's been feeling exciting, like there's something just around the corner. And I don't know what that is, but there is something big waiting for me. And I really hope that you can tune into this as well, because it is quite precious. So take this into meditation if you feel like it. This question of, who am I here to become? What is my role? What are my gifts? My true soul gifts? And how can I share them with the world now to the best of my ability? And really know that I am coming from a pure sense of service, and no longer from an injured sense of self that still needs to hide, feel insecure, feel inadequate, or feel like it needs to pretend to be better than it is because it needs the validation from others. So in other words, it's once again time to feel the fear and do it anyways. And I feel that our roll call is going to find us soon. Very soon. So get ready for that. Ask yourself if you really are feeling ready, if you are still feeling trepidation or anxiety in any areas. How's that possibly showing up in your body? For me, it's my solar plexus. That's where it hits me first. So listen closely to anything within, physically, emotionally, mentally. Do you have racing, repeating thoughts, worries, concerns that don't let you sleep perhaps? Or do you have so many visions and ideas right now that it's hard to focus? And maybe you're not sleeping because of that. Just be present and keep getting down to it, to finding your next step forward and committing to that. And if no step is presenting itself yet, patience. Have patience. It will find you, because this is really a time for new beginnings. Again, stepping over that threshold, opening up the barriers that have been holding us back so far from fully claiming our hearts. And then stepping through that doorway. I hope you found this helpful. I know I've been repeating myself a lot, even within this podcast, but I do feel that these energies are important right now to keep sitting with, to stay present with. And it's so easy to forget. And right now there's a real push from our souls to really committing to our higher aspirations and to follow through with our long-term visions, to become the best versions of who we are meant to be, and to shine our lights, and to start sharing all our precious gifts. All right, everyone. Please do let me know how these energies might be showing up in your lives, or if you feel that you are dealing with them in your life. This is a communal effort here. We're all doing this together now, and it's getting very exciting. So if you find these podcasts helpful, please give me a like, leave me a comment, subscribe to the channel if you feel like it, if you would like to get reminders of when these podcasts come up every week. All right, everyone, I will leave it at this, and I will see you next week. Take care. See you soon.